Yes, what's up? How you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to some of you from wherever you are catching me from. My name is Luzze Andrew Anderson, and of course, just in case it's your first time to be here, well, you can go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification button in case you feel what I'm going to tell you is important. But what we're going to be talking about is very easy: how to never go broke again, just like how it is up there. So let me take you through. We get this out of the way. Okay, this is my story. Well, this is where it's all started. Well, as I was still doing medical school, I was still at Midcare Health Professionals College. I was doing medical laboratory, and surprisingly, as I was still doing school, I think it was in my first year, and then we saw an advert on TV, me and my cousin, of course, in the cubicle where we were staying in the medical school, and these guys looked for a best TV personality or a best TV presenter who could be working on TV. And guess what? It was a national TV. But by then, of course, those are like how many years? Like 16, 17 years ago. So I told my sister, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. And she's like, I don't think you can do it. But she didn't know that I had the background of doing debates, at school. I used to do debating and I loved it so much. So I'm like, easy. Let's go for trials. She's like, imagine you're working on National Geographic Channel and maybe you're talking about lions. What would you do? So I did a dry run, which was perfect. Then she's like, okay, let's imagine you're doing a cooking show. I did it. It was perfect. Then she's like, okay, let's imagine you're interviewing some sort of a celebrity. Let's imagine you're having Justin Bieber, and we see if you can do it. Of course, I did Justin Bieber interview and it came out nice. And she's like, you know what? You can beat these guys. Remember, we are 45 million Ugandans, but of course, when it comes to the student, remember, Uganda is a bottlenecked country whereby the youths are the many, and by then, of course, every kid wanted to work on TV. So out of the thousands and thousands of the kids and the youths who came out, to do the interview, I was among some of them. Of course, I did not have transport because I was still in a medical school, but guess what? I had a friend who helped me with $1, of course, which I used to go in for the competition, that is for the interview. And of course, guess what? The rest is history. I became a TV presenter. I've done that and did that for 15 years, 15 years now running until I retired recently. But what happened is, when I got the job, I worked at that station for 7 years. You can imagine 7 years. 7 years, and from school, you're having a professional job where you even pay NSSF and you also pay taxes. That was a dream come true for any youth. So I worked on that TV for 7 years. No, 9 years, approximately 7, 9, 9, 9, like 9, 7, approximately there. So because I had not looked for a job and I didn't know how job hunting is supposed to go, remember, don't forget our topic. Our topic is how to never go broke again. So after working there for all that time, those many years, 7 years, and everything is moving smoothly. From school now, you pay your house rent, you pay your bills, water bills, electricity bills, all the bills and transportation, you pay for them from school. And now the worst happened. They closed the TV station. It closed down. And that was the worst part of my last 37 years. It was the worst part. It was the worst time I've ever gone through as me. So when it happened, of course, now I could not afford nothing. I could not afford anything. I could not afford my rent. I could not afford my water bills or any kind sorts of bills. I could afford totally nothing. So it really, 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 really hurt me so much that I went through really hard time. But thank God, of course, my sister had some apartment where I stayed for 6 months, and I had to juggle it out. I had to start afresh. That's when I noticed that in case you get to a point and you never went through the right steps, like it or not, you will have to go back and learn those steps so that when something happens, you can always go back and do it because you passed through all the stages. You get the point, So now I had to go back the steps to learn how to do that. But thank God, of course, I got another job, the same thing, of course, doing and working on TV, doing TV presenting. When I got that job, I told myself one thing: if I get a job, the first thing I'll do, as long as I get the job just like that, then I'm start planning my exit. So this is what I put in plan, and this is the only way why you will never go broke. How to never go broke again. This is what I did, and of course I want to share it with you. So I first get a paper, the pen. I wrote down my expenditures. I was like, how much do I spend for my rent? Let's take an experimentation. It was like 450,000 shillings. Yeah. So I put it down. I'm like, for a month, for a year, how much is that? So I calculated 450,000 shillings times 12. Then that comes to 5.4 millions. So that is 5.4 million. So now I went ahead to see how much do I eat. Yeah, how much do I spend on my food? I noticed it is like 200. Yeah, it is like 200. It is like 200. Yeah, we are just taking experimentations. 200. So I put down the 200, then multiply it by 12 also. Then I noticed that will come to 7.8. Yeah, 7.8 m. So I also put that out. Yeah, so that is 7.8. Now that is my rent plus my food all together for a year. That is 7.8. Then I was like, how much do I spend on internet? I'm like, I spend like 120,000. 120,000 times 12 also. I noticed that comes down to 9.24000. Yeah, so it comes down to 9,240,000 shillings. So I put it down. Then I'm like, these other expenses. So I made sure immediately I got the job, from the salary that I'm getting, I made sure I have to put that money aside. Yeah, aside. So in all total, basically, let's take an imagination, like I could use 10 million Ugandan shillings. Yeah, so I get the 10 millions, put them aside, save it, and now I'm ready at any time. At any time the job is out or I'm fired, I'm sorted for a year. As for a year, I know in that year, of course, I would have planned what I'm going to be doing next. So that what happened with my first job, job A, where I lost the job and I had to be home for 6 months and I could afford totally nothing, would never happen. So when I got my second job, I did that. By the time it closed down too, I was safe for a year. And thank God, again, another opportunity came through. When another opportunity came through, I did the same. Of course, I had money which could save me for a year. So then I had to plan for my retirement. So even when the last TV closed down, still I could survive for a year. Basically, eat what I was eating, drink what I was drinking. My life could be normal even without a job. You get the point? So this is what I always advise you guys. When you get to a job, whether you have a family or not, as long as you're employed, the first thing you're supposed to do is know your expenses by fingertips. Just know your expenses. And if you get to know your expenses, save that money aside so that in case of any catastrophe happening, you can survive for a year as you're planning what next. So when it came to my end game, because I knew such a thing again would happen, you know what I did? I was like, what if now I could not afford, because I've been unemployed for like how many like 5 years, 5 years, 6 years I've been unemployed. So in that period, of course, I knew I was doing my own stuff, but I was like, what if something still again happens? What am I supposed to do next? You know what I did again? I was like, no, let me get a small house. I'll get a small house. I know now I'm supposed to have we have those basic needs like electricity, then we need water, then those bills. Then I had to make a plan so that when such a thing happens now with my private job, of course, I can still survive for the next year as I plan what next. And guess what? This time around, of course, I'm staying with my son. But if you do that, let me tell you, even if you're abroad, you just get to know your expenses by fingertips. You know that every month I'm supposed to spend this much. Though it differs from one country to another. But that's how I did it, and that's how I survived. And that's what you're supposed to do so that you can never, ever go broke again. By the time you go broke and you've lost that job, guess what? You have money reserved for a year to keep you going as you're thinking of your next step. I still remain Luzze Andrew Anderson, and if you feel this was nice, you can go ahead, subscribe, hit the notification button so that when I put up another video, you're among the first people to be watching. Luzze Andrew Anderson is my name. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to some of you from wherever you are catching me. Until then, I want to say bless ya.